The title of our meeting today, How to Live Life So That Your Expectation Won't Bring Suffering. So, if you're wanting happiness from your man, consider that you will suffer. So just be with that for a moment. Because when we're married, when we're in a relationship, we all have expectations. Please raise your hand who doesn't have any expectation from your husband, from your friends, or from your parents, or anyone at all. Please raise your hand. I'm gonna bow in front of you because you are the saint. Anyone? No. And this is our human nature. We do have expectations from our especially loved ones. And when you have expectations, again, from your man, whether it's a husband or boyfriend, when you have expectation from yourself and life in general, you will suffer. Now, let me explain. What do I mean by that? For example, you have an expectation for your husband or your boyfriend, let's say hypothetically, to take you to vacation. Let's say vacation to, let's say Mexico. And right now he can't afford it. Financially, it's difficult for him. Because you have the expectation for him to take you to the vacation, he feels that expectation, and guess what he's gonna do? He will resist. And the more he will resist, the more you will be upset and disappointed. And that's how the cycle of suffering begins. You have attachment that he takes you to vacation, or you have an attachment for him, let's say, to be a provider and protector, as you're listening to my programs. Or you have different expectation from even your parents, from yourself, and from your children. Those expectations gonna continue keep you suffering. So now, so you can get the most out of the meeting today, I would like for you to start authentically, ladies, vulnerably share what is your expectation. So ladies, if you can, please start vulnerably and authentically share what is your expectation. You can share either from yourself, either from your man, either from your life, because wherever you suffer right now the most, and let's be honest, I also have expectations and I constantly work on them, but I am responsible why I am struggling sometimes because I have that expectation. The more you'll be able to let go of the expectations, and I'm also gonna show you how, the more you're gonna be free, because the expectations are like poison in your relationship. It poisons your life, you, and especially your relationship with men, because men feel when you want something from them. And then I'll be showing you step by step how to overcome that. But for right now, please raise your hand if you want to share or just start sharing. Where is your main? Yes, Sarita.
Okay.
Awesome.
But right now, my biggest struggle with expectation is with my young children. I expect them to be obedient immediately when I ask them to do something. And that's my biggest frustration right now.
Thank you. Thank you for acknowledging. And the more you want them to be obedient and they're not, how does that make you feel?
Angry on a certain level. Angry, honestly.
Yeah. Thank you for acknowledging, Sarita. And like I said, expectations always equals upset, disappointment, frustration, and anger. To some, it gets to even the feeling of rage. So really good, Sarita. Who else wants to share?
My expectations are like, I'm doing all this work. I've shut out the world. And this isn't the first time I've done this, not the world, but I feel like the universe should grant me what I wished for. Like, it's like something that was embedded in me probably as a child. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So like, I'm doing everything right? I feel like I have a way better relationship with myself at 39 than I did at 30. And I've done so much internal work, but it's like, it's never going to end, but it's like getting exhausting, just like the waiting period, if that makes sense.
Yes, yes.
Of when am I going to feel better 100%. But I can say, Amrita, I do feel 70% better today. So I'm almost there.
Thank you for sharing, Mira. I appreciate it. So the expectation is, when will I heal? When will I get better so I can get what I want, right? And so this expectations, how does it make you feel that you are not there, that you don't get what you want yet? How does that make you feel?
Probably the most frustrated I've ever felt with myself.
Got it, Mira. Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. So expectations, you know, like Tori was just sharing her expectation of her husband, and that, you know, isn't it kind of good to have a few expectations? Like, I expect you to be home, you know, at 10 o'clock, or, you know, to be a good father, to be a good husband. I mean, it's kind of confusing to me to have some expectations, because I think that some expectations are standards.
Yeah,
and then, so it gets confusing, because I mean, if you don't have a few expectations of what a husband should be and a father, and if some ways that, you know, you get upset with that because you really are upset, and that's being authentic, and that might, you know, help them think twice. And of course you're going to be upset if they break some of those expectations, but at the same time, are we talking here expectations like, I feel like if I'm working on myself, my husband should be working on himself.
Yeah.
Or I also feel like if I'm working really hard in the house, we have company, or, you know, I'm trying to get things ready and I try to help him a lot, I kind of expect him to come, you know, when I'm really busy, or, you know, to help me. Those are some of my expectations that I have. And I'll feel upset if, you know, if I feel like I'm working really hard and he's just laying on the couch, you know, and not helping me. I want him to be more understanding towards me. I will try to be more understanding towards him.
Ladies, Marie, you're bringing a really good point. But in a relationship, how we are wired as a women and how men are wired are completely different. And you see how you're approaching from a lens. Well, if I will be understanding, he will be understanding. If I will give him freedom, he'll give me freedom. If I'll give him time, he'll give me time too. But this is not the way the dynamic actually works at all. And that's why we're in this conversation, because again, let's just briefly on the surface, I'm going to share something with you, what's happening to Victoria. If she gonna work on herself, on increasing her self-esteem, and not gonna put up with the husband like that, do you think he gonna continue coming home at 3 o'clock in the morning?
Hopefully not, unless if he really cares, he won't.
Exactly.
If he really cares for his family, and
yeah, because there's two things. Either a person gonna start respecting her and coming through because she's gonna put the boundaries and gonna set up what's not acceptable, and then he either gonna step up or realize, you know what, no, I'm not willing to change, and he gonna fall off and move on. Because we are concentrating as a women mainly on who?
ourselves.
That's not true. We're concentrating on our men. We want to change them. But let me be understanding so he will be understanding. Let me give him some freedom so he can give me freedom. Let me work this hard so he can also work this hard. But actually, this is not a working model at all. The only person we can change is who?
Ourselves.
Absolutely. The moment we're trying to change others by having an expectations and having attachment to those expectations, we suffer because we lose. If we have an expectation that he has to change, that he has to behave a certain way, we can run away to our room and cry because he's not coming home, or we're gonna run to our friends and cry that he's not taking you to vacation or not proposing to you or disappears, or whatever those reasons. You are choosing to withdraw, you're losing the power. You are coming towards him, but you're trying to change him, and you have the expectations to change him, you're losing the power as well. Those two things that we do, either we withdraw or we're trying to change them by having expectations for him to change and having an attachment. But two of those things not gonna work. Not effective. This is the source of suffering. Expectations from yourself expectations from your man and expectation from life in general. So who else wants to share? Because we're going to start diving even deeper to what actually it's going to take for you to let go of expectation and attachment, because all of us really want to grab onto that. Or if I'm going to only have that, I will be happy. If you only do this, I will be happy. And please know that attachment to happiness has a poisoning roots. I will explain now. For example, people are living in two dimensions, either connecting to the past or connecting to the future. In the past, you're well, he hurt me. He broke my heart here. He was dishonest. He came home late, or he didn't do XYZ, or I was not able to achieve this success at work. I'm not having so much income, and my friend betrayed me, or my ex betrayed me. So you're constantly thinking about the past. And either past about the good moments and you want to have the same good moments in life, or you have this negative, traumatic, betrayal kind of moments. And the more you're stuck about thinking the past, the more you're not living in the present moment. That's the source of suffering. And that living in the past, constantly dwelling on the past, gonna get your state into the depression. This attachment to how things should be, but they didn't go the way I wanted it. He hurt me, he betrayed me, and now you're stuck thinking about it. You are in a state of depression. You lose power. Other people are stuck thinking about future. Well, let me just achieve getting engaged. Or let me just achieve helping him so he will be successful. Or let me just achieve helping him to quit drinking. Or let me just achieve getting this good job to get a higher income. And then I'll be happy. And this, you're living in the state of future. People who are living and constantly chasing the expectations, they lose the power by constantly being anxious and stressed. That is the source of suffering. Chasing. And the happiness in the chasing is very short-lived. For example, you're driving to work, the traffic is there, and you're thinking, let me just get to work and I'll be happy. You get to work, the traffic is gone, you're happy for a few seconds, few moments, and then you're thinking, oh, don't want to do this job. I just can't wait to go home and eat my dinner. So the whole time while you're at work, you have no purpose on this job, because you're already thinking about the future, how to get back home. Or you are single and thinking about how to get a boyfriend. You don't have purpose in life, because you're living in the future thinking how I can just get a boyfriend to get married. Or if you're married, how to get children. Or if you're married and have children, how for them to be obedient and listen to you. So you are not in the present. You're not fulfilled. And 95% of the people live in a state of past, which is called ignorance, in a state of future, which is called lust, and going back and forth. And only between 2 to 3% you're actually being present in the moment. And by the way, being in the present, guess what you don't have? Who wants to guess?
You don't have expectations or anxiety?
Yes. Yes, there's zero expectations and there's zero attachment. The moment you were meditating, if you're truly in a state of meditation or a prayer, do you think you are thinking about the future or the past? You're not. You're in the present. You're grounded. And so the question to you that you're probably already guessing, what is your access to being in the present? Because we have to ground ourselves to live in the present moment, which is very hard for us as a human beings. Because we are born with expectations of happiness and love as a woman. And men are born with expectation to succeed. So men have this expectation to succeed, which is the source of their misery. And we have the expectations of happiness and being loved. And that is our source of misery and suffering. This is a very spiritual advanced conversation, ladies. So just be with me. And so then the question to you, how can we live in the present and let go of that expectation? Not just love and happiness or success for men, but all of the expectations, because expectations again equals frustration, upset, and anger. How can we let go?
Have a relationship with the Creator. It's like spiritually, meditation.
That's one, but you will be meditating only 30 minutes, maximum an hour. That's it. So how can you stay in the present moment and decrease your expectations? You will never get to zero, ladies. Never. Saints will. Us as a human beings, we will always constantly have those expectations, but we can decrease them to 10%, which is very manageable. But how can we decrease it to 10%?
By accepting things for how they are.
Yeah, but how can you accept things for the way they are? What is the access to that?
Not having the expectation or trying to change, like just accepting it for what it is.
But how can you accept things the way they are?
Give it to God. I don't know.
Being curious.
Focus on
Being curious.
Being curious. Well, that's all of the thinking process, curiosity, but what is the real action? Action that you can take.
just focus on like you, even though that's challenging to do, but just turn inward and like if you're expecting it from others, are you sure you're giving it to yourself? So like point the finger at yourself before pointing it at anyone else.
You are saying Mira, but from a different lens. So let me, ladies, start giving it to you. You see, we have expectations from others. For example, for a husband to be maybe loving, to be nurturing, to be a provider, to be a protector, for him to spoil us or do things. We have certain expectations from ourselves and relatives and friends. In order to achieve true happiness, ladies, we gotta let go of that expectations, but rather do the work. Because it's very simple to say, but it's a hard to live life where you're actually working on achieving the happiness. And now we'll explain what I mean by that. For example, you wanted to get money and you're choosing a job that you don't really like, but it has a high income. In the beginning, it will have a sweet taste because you're getting money. But the end result, you will suffer because you hate the job. For example, you want a boyfriend, you got the boyfriend, but you see the red flags. The sweet taste first. Oh, I got the boyfriend. But the misery gonna kick in because you ignored the red flags. You gonna pay later when the relationship gonna start cracking. So this is life living in the past or the future, state of ignorance or state of passion, constantly chasing. The state of goodness, where you live in the present moment. You work on yourself by serving others. Now just be with it for a moment because it's a very spiritually advanced concept. Because for example, it seems like right now I'm serving you, which I am. It's a free meeting. But I'm mainly doing it for Creator himself. This is my askeza. Askeza meaning I'm doing something not for me. I'm doing it for Creator. The result, you also get served. You're getting the knowledge. In the moment we're serving others, the selfishness, which is the core of our suffering, is not there.
And Rita, I have a question on that.
Hold on. Be present. Be present for a moment, because I have to finish this. Very important. Otherwise, I'm already starting to lose it. For example, I'm cooking for my husband and our son. It seems like I'm cooking for him and our son, but in reality, I'm not cooking for them. I'm not even cooking for myself. My son loves pancakes and pasta. My husband likes to eat meat. I am vegetarian. I have to cook breakfast, lunch, and dinner, 3 different meals. I'm spending a lot of time in the kitchen. For you, it might seem like, oh my God, it's exhausting. No, if we're looking at serving, which is askeza, living life of being of service, as the source of happiness, that we're serving Creator Himself, we're in the present moment. As I'm saying that, I'm getting moved. Because right now, I'm not just serving you, I'm serving Creator, because that's what He wants from me. And that is my source of happiness and fulfillment right now, in the moment. I'm getting touched because I get to do what I love, and I get to serve you and Creator. I have raised garden where I'm growing vegetables, tomatoes and cucumbers, and a lot of trees. The grapes, the persimmons, the pomegranates, the plum, the peaches, and etc. It seems like I'm doing it for me and our family, but in the reality, I am growing it for Creator, so that the food will taste even better. And then the result, my husband and our son and I get, that we're almost eating the holy food. And as I'm cleaning at home, I'm not cleaning it for me or my husband and our son. Because the space where I'm living, it's the space where our soul lives, our body lives. I'm doing it also for Creator. Because the more we're of service to our loved ones, to people around us, the more we're in the present moment. And then there's a zero expectations and attachments. And of course, sometimes I get into my head and I start to have the expectations. But then what I do is I pray. I meditate. And we're mainly asking for God, give me money, give me man, give me this, give me that. That's the lowest way of connection to Creator. The tiny connection to Creator. Asking to have more love in our heart, more patience, letting go of expectations, being kinder. Creator listens to us. He really does. And my expectation of my husband doing something diminishes as I'm asking him for help, because I see I'm getting upset. Why am I upset? Why am I upset at him? Oh, I have this expectation. And this is being responsible and not living life as if he owes me something. I do something, therefore he needs to do the something for me too. Well, I'm a good wife. I do X, Y, Z, where therefore I deserve it, and therefore he has to do it. And the moment we're kind of whipping him that he has to, he must, he needs to, there's zero desire to serve us back. And when people in the modern society hear the word serve, it almost connects to being a slave. No, being of service, it's 100% pure love. And whenever you giving love, love comes back to you. Not double, not triple, it comes back. It comes back even more. One time my spiritual guru said, I am Rita, you're so smart. You're serving your feminine circle so Creator can give you even more happiness and love. And I'm like, I never thought about it of this selfish way. He's like, no, I'm just joking. But being of service to people, please know that the more you're serving others, the more the happiness and loves come to you. But if you live in a state of past or the future and you lack love because you're not doing the spiritual practices, you're walking on this empty or little bit of 3% of love at the most, and you're like, you give me, and you give me, and you give me, and let me dump my misery on my friend, on my mom, on my dad, on my boyfriend. And then the result, the relationship is not working. Because then we're not just suffering, but we're suffocating our man and our children. And we want them to be obedient. How can they be obedient if we are stressed out? We're starting the day thinking, oh, let me get coffee and run to work. And then we come from work, the 3 or 5% love that we had it somehow, it's now not 0, it's not minus 100, but we're demanding, you better listen. And you better give me what I want from them. But again, relatives, children, or man. So what are you hearing, ladies?
Just in thinking about my personal situation with the children, when you said we work on ourselves by serving others, or we serve the Creator by serving others, it helped me to kind of think about why I want them to be obedient. And it's really not for me, it is for them, because that's what they need in their life.
Sarita,
so kind of
Sarita, I was not trying to whip you or something, that, oh, you're wanting them obedient. Don't take it personally at all. Because every mom, we want our kids to listen to them because we know what's good for them. But also, please know that psychologically, kids will lie, kids won't listen, and kids won't be obedient because this is their defense mechanism in order to survive. Please know, if you want to make your kids obedient, they're going to be followers. They're not going to succeed in life. They're probably natural leaders like you, Sarita, but you want to break them and say, you be obedient and listen. You can break them. They will listen. But then when they're going to grow up, they're going to be kind of like walking around insecure with low self-esteem and follow everyone else. So let's not break our kids. They listen when we listen to them. They really so in tune with us. I remember when our son was 3 years old, and I was only meditating like 3.5 years. And around 1 or 2 o'clock p.m., I would get frustrated. And my son would run to me and say, Mom, did you pray today? And I say, yes, I did. He's like, Mama, I think you need to go pray again. It was so adorable. They're so in tune. They're so in tune because when we get edgy, frustrated, or stressed, they feel it. And they gotta defend themselves. They gotta protect themselves. And how they do it? They don't listen. They become hyper, or they lie. And then we're making them wrong. Why are you lying? Why are you not listening? Because they are feeding off from our energy. They are the mirror of ourselves. Your man, your kids, reflection of who you are. And this is very hard to be with, ladies. Whatever you have, let's say a man who loves you, spoils you, treats you like a queen, you deserve that. You worked hard to get there. You are single, relationships are not working. You also worked hard, doing everything wrong to get where you are. You have a relationship where a man disrespects you, parties, and doesn't want to show up for you and your children. You also got yourself and your husband to that point. Everything we have, we created it. And as a woman, we definitely feel that inside, the sense of, I deserve better. The more you feel I deserve better and I do everything to get better with that entitlement, the more you're going to be going downhill, because Creator gives us only what we deserve. Only. And we are women by nature are very lazy. For men to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning to go for a run or a gym is 99% easier than us women. I've been waking up at 5:45 for now, I don't know, good 10 and a half years or something. I still first 2-3 minutes feel like, oh, I'm violating my body. It's so hard. Not always, but a few times a week I still feel like, oh, it's so hard. And then the moment I wash my face, that goes away and I feel great. But first 2-3 minutes, sometimes I still feel like, oh, it's so hard. I want to sleep. Or my husband. Last year when he was doing morning ascesa with me, meaning running and getting in the cold water, because I had arthritis and I was able to fix that with this ascesa, for him it was so easy. For us women, to work on ourselves, to have a discipline is very hard. You're now going to be very excited after this meeting. You might even want to do meditation more or do something. And if you stay in the community, you're going to continue rising. But if you're on your own and you have masculine women who are go-getter, righteous, and complaining and gossiping all the time, your energy will go down really quickly. That's why being in a spiritual, feminine community, when we're together, we uplift and growing together. On your own, it's impossible. Very, very hard. I'm talking to my spiritual guru at least once a week in the spiritual meetings. I have you ladies, and I do my daily routine, morning routine. The moment, if I even go to meditation to 30 minutes, I see a huge difference between an hour and 15 minutes to 30 minutes. I kind of start to get might get even moody by 5 or 6 p.m. And my husband and our son will catch it. And I know to myself, I'm like, oh, I woke up a little bit later. I didn't do meditation as long. The result. I'm not asking you that you can right away start doing 30 or 45-minute meditation. You can start with even 5 or 10 minutes prayer. And then naturally, you're going to start doing it more and more and more and seeing the results. And with the happiness, like Mira, you said, we gotta really become fulfilled and happy on our own. And we're happy and fulfilled on our own when we serve others, when we live in the present moment. And not expecting, demanding, or being attached to those demands and expectations, neither from us, neither from others. Now, questions, ladies.
Oh my goodness, that was really incredible to hear about living your life of service to Creator, especially. I would always think about living my life of service to others, but to Creator is a little bit different for me, and I would like to practice that.
Nicole,
but I have to be on.
Nicole, 1 second. You know why is it hard to be of service to others? Because the moment we're of service to others, we will have expectations. Well, I'm doing something for you. Give me something back. But when you are of service to Creator, you don't want anything back from Him. Because He will give you even more than you want. You want just a man and a good job and a good income. He'll give you that and 10 plus. But if we're begging and expecting, we get 0. From both, from Creator and from others. So that's why we cannot just serve selflessly to others, because we, by nature, are very selfish creatures. Very self-centered. And the more we're thinking about ourselves, the more we're miserable.
I guess my question is, but that's probably already answering my question, the difference between serving Creator versus serving others. Because listening to this advice gives me fear already. Like I already feel like I'm shaking a little bit in my chest because of how many times even since childhood, my natural nature is a lot of kindness, a lot of giving, and it's attracted a lot of predatory type people. And even good men that have come into my life who are not predators, they love how I love. They come out of the relationship like a brand new person, all cleaned up, and I come out of it tired and really depleted. So my question is, what am I, what am I doing wrong that this is like a pattern for me?
And it's not just to you. Thank you for being vulnerable, Nicole. It happened probably to several women here, if not half of the women. Do you remember, as I shared, the goodness, which only 5% of humanity lives in a state of goodness where we are serving Creator. That's, by the way, how we deeply connect to Creator and getting to know Him. In the beginning, by serving Him, it has a very bitter taste. It's hard to wake up in the morning. It's hard to do meditation daily. It becomes a routine, but in the beginning, it's very hard. But it has a sweet taste later. I am enjoying now my marriage because I put so much discipline and routine, and now my marriage flows. My husband present and listen. He provides, leads, and protects. He's in tune with me. But because I had to do the work. So what happens is, as you're gonna do daily meditation or a prayer, which I ladies have to teach you, because some of you are doing something, I'm like, what is this? Because we need to conquer the destiny. The destiny is in our soul right here, which pushes us to go through suffering, to go through lessons. And if we're not able to win and conquer the destiny, we feel like a failure and we suffer. And our soul is basically around this destiny. And you cannot conquer the destiny that tries to push you to suffer, whether it's with your parents or with your man or with your kids. Someone will always gonna try to target that weak point in you. If you're not gonna do daily spiritual routine, like practices like either meditation or prayer, destiny will win. And you will feel like you're suffering again and again and again. But if you do the daily meditation or a prayer, over time, that destiny that is really hard around your soul starts to get softer. It gets bigger and you feel it in your chest, but it's not dense anymore. And then eventually, for some it's going to be 8 months, for some it's going to be 6 months, for some it's going to be a year and a half, but then it's like cloud, it's like, it's gone. That's how I was able to conquer my destiny. My biggest lesson in life is my mother. For those of you who've been watching my YouTube videos and being in a WhatsApp group, she put me through so much misery in life. And as I was doing spiritual practices, that's how I was able to finally forgive her and accept her. She had such a rough life. And I deserve her because I was doing the same thing in my previous life. So whatever is not happening in your life, that let's say what you're attracting is men who are toxic or narcissist or borderline personality, even though I don't like to call it psychologically, but basically men who use you and let's say abuse your kindness, is because you did that in the previous life. And karmically, they're coming back to you. And then you think, why? What's wrong with me? Why am I getting them? And you can continue questioning why, or you can look in your life where you suffer, is that's what you got because you've done it either 10, 20 years ago or in your previous life. And without the prayer meditation, you can go to therapy, ladies, for years. You'll get 10, 20% results, but you're not going to conquer your destiny. You're still going to be attracting again and again and again those type of men because it's karma is following you. And therapy has no access to healing your karma. Do you get it? That's where the challenge. I was a therapist for so many years, and I still couldn't fully let go and forgive my mother. I was bankrupt. Like, why am I not experiencing happiness? Why am I not experiencing bliss? I've gone through therapy so much. I'm a therapist myself, but what's wrong? Peace was missing. Connection to the source. to Creator. So I'm showing you the shortcut. Yes, therapy will help with certain things, absolutely. But if you're missing the most important piece, connecting to Him and building the relationship with Him, you're gonna be chasing and chasing and chasing, or remembering the past, and this happened and that happened. So you basically live in a depression, anxiety, sadness, pain, and stress, and chasing the future. And only 2 or 3% living in the present moment. And that's how, by the way, 95% of the humanity lives. I'm showing you to access outside of the box. Yes, you'll have to put effort and work, which is for us lazy ladies, because we are naturally lazy, is hard. But if you're gonna don't, like one time I remember when our son was 2 or 3 years old, I decided that I'm gonna meditate for 1.5 hours to even 2 hours. And it was almost in the beginning of my journey. So I was meditating for 1.5 hours to 2 hours. It was so beautiful. I remember even the whole room being a golden color with my eyes closed. I felt the presence of Creator. It was so wonderful. 4 months later, I woke up. And it made me almost feel like if you eat 3 cakes, you want to throw up because you feel sick. I overdid spirituality so much that I didn't meditate or pray for 4 months. Don't do that. We gotta slowly but surely keep moving forward. Start with 5 minutes, then naturally you get to 7 minutes, naturally to 10 minutes. In a month you'll get to 12 minutes. Slowly, slowly, slowly. But you also gotta get the best time for meditation and prayer is between 3:30 in the morning till 6 o'clock in the morning. That's when you connect to Creator 100%. 100% in the silence when the life world is still sleeping. At 6, between 6 to 7 a.m., you're still connecting to Him, but only 80%. Because we're lazy, we want to sleep. Between 7 and 8 o'clock in the morning, you're still connecting to Him, but only 60%. Until 11 o'clock now, between 9 o'clock till 11 o'clock, you're connecting to Him only 10%. After 12, if you do meditation or prayer, you're connecting to Him and He gives you relaxation. But you will not conquer your destiny. Destiny is around our soul. That is presses hard for us to go through challenges in order to conquer that lesson. Lesson with men, lesson with relatives, meaning your parents or your kids. Some with income, some with health. To some, all of it, meaning you're really going through the difficult period in life. Mira, you have hand up. Question. Did I answer your question, Nicole?
Yes, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Mira.
I want to share something. Sometimes we want something so bad, like the resistance is there, and we like pray about it, we write about it, and we force things. And I'm sure we've all been guilty of doing that. It never turns out the way that we want. So what I've learned is just that resistance is like, sometimes we feel like it's outside of us, but it's not. It's just literally what Amrita's saying is like letting go and devotion to yourself and the Creator. And I'm seeing like the benefits of the ripple effects of it. And just staying consistent is key, which I'm trying.
Absolutely. But again, this devotion, please don't collapse. It's not to yourself. Let's detach our selfishness about ourselves. It's to Him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? But devotion to Him will give you the result of self-love. Because if you will learn to serve Him and love Him, the result you will learn to love for the first time yourself. And if you love yourself, you will genuinely start loving others. Because until then, it's an illusion that you love yourself and love others. It's more of an expectation. You owe me. And by the way, where's this expectation really rooted from? Is because our parents, let's be honest, all of our parents gone through challenges and their own traumas. They gave us what they could. Psychologists prove that the most our parents gave us is between 10 to 30% love. Because they were traumatized, there were other kids. So if they gave only 30 to you, but you had also siblings, now divide that 30 among that other siblings. So if you had only brother and sister, it's 15% and 15%. If you had 9 siblings, 30 divide by 9. So you got only 3% love. And now you're trying to survive on this 3% love. And when you go, ladies, by the way, to work, you give that, whatever that you have, to your work. Yeah, you got 150 or 300 bucks that day, but now you have zero and you come home absolutely depleted. And what do you think on that zero you're giving your man or your children love? Absolutely not. And that's where the pressure and stress starts to kick in. Because you want to demand your man to give you what you want. You demand kids to give you what you want, but you're not giving anything. Because the only person that gives love in a family is a woman, a wife and a mother. Men cannot give you love. They give you comfort when they're providing, leading, and protecting you. Kids give you a little bit of love, but then they demand so much more that it exhausts you. And so men take away your love, your husband, your boyfriend, kids take away love. And so if you're not doing the meditation and prayer, you're walking around on zero, constantly, empty, stressed. And honestly, most of the women that I see who are working and having kids and single mom on top of it, they're like a mad women. And that femininity, you cannot get by me coaching you, by the way. You're going to start peeling off your layers of pain and masculine energy by continue doing the daily spiritual routine. And that's how you get to the core of being soft and feminine, gentle, kind, compassionate, and not walking around expecting love me, demanding, or having the hidden agenda. I'll do something for you and you do something back to me. But when you give love naturally and authentically, it will flow back to you, because love is service. And then your husband, not right away. It might take him 3 or 6 months to make sure that you're really genuinely serving and loving him. And then it always flows back. Always. There will be channels. Even if it's not going to be coming through your mom directly, you will meet someone who will give you that motherly love. Maybe it's not going to be from your kids. It's definitely going to be from somebody in your life, and you're going to feel that. Somebody has raised hand. I think it's Celine. You have a question?
When you were mentioning about the past and future, like the depression versus worry, anxiety, I think my question was around when I'm meditating, but it doesn't even have to be during meditation, but first a person to reflect, they naturally look into the past. And like I try to draw lessons, not to like ruminate or dwell, but just so that I can learn a lesson and do things differently. And just like you were saying, the karma, it might be 10 years ago that happened in your past life. So I guess, is that considered like okay? And I guess like, not that I'm having shame about like doing that, but isn't that part of also trying to learn and grow? Because I noticed that now, like when I'm isolated, let's say, I think or reflect on certain things, I'm like, I should have handled that better. And then this is like in a vacuum, right? Like when there's not the situation happening. And then I get exposed to the situation, let's say my mom triggering me or something. And then it's a test. And then I either pass or fail in my mind. And then I go back to my meditation and I'm like, okay, you didn't handle that like how you thought you would. So what do we need to do now? And so I guess this is like coming back to expectation. It's an expectation of myself, honestly, and how I'm handling things. And then it kind of turns into judgment or critical, you know, and I see what you mean about the depression part, but I also think this is the only way you can be like self-aware, right?
First of all, when we start to meditate, depending on how anxious or depressed you are and living in a very busy, stressful world, most of the people have mental health problems, disorders, and definitely have anxiety and have a depression. So first 10 minutes when we meditate or pray, we're in our head. We are thinking about the people in our life, we're thinking about the past, we're thinking what we've done, had a conversation with mom or husband or father or boyfriend. It's okay that those thoughts are going through. Or for example, even not during the meditation, you are having thoughts. How can you do it better? Or what can you do to change that? That's a different, because you are thinking, what can you do to change that? That's being responsible. But I'm talking about if you're thinking about the past. Oh, again, I failed. Again, this didn't work out. I don't trust my mom anymore. I don't trust myself anymore. And you're dwelling on it and feeling anxious, depressed, and not trusting yourself. That's living in the past. But thinking about in the present, how can you do it better? And kind of almost like testing it. I will do it this way or that way. And you're putting the actions and the plan. That's different.
Okay.
But if you're also thinking about constantly, well, next time I'm going to do this, and you're planning and thinking, just thinking about the future, that's also living in the future.
I'm worrying.
Yes, because the future thinking is always has an attachment, and it has stress and anxiety attached to it. That's why people have migraine headaches, panic attacks, because they're chasing their goals and their dreams. And I see a lot of therapists will tell you, well, figure it out how you can do XYZ in order to achieve that goal. And that's where behavioral therapy is mainly doing. It's constantly talking in the now, but about the future, which keeps the person even more stressed and more anxious and not being in the present moment at all.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah.
One last question I had when you were talking about serving, and you said this is an example of you serving. It seems like, and you stated it too, that you enjoy doing this. So in serving, does it have to be something you like or find joy, which then kind of makes it self-serving or, you know, selfish in a sense? Because I guess when I'm thinking of the how, like how can I serve the creator more? I don't know, besides meditating, like, you know, do I go to a food bank and just help others, or do I pet kids, you know, like what does it have to be able to serve?
Celine, most of the people who don't understand their purpose in life and what makes them happy is the loudest sign that you're living in a state of past. Because once you're gonna be in the present, the think what I like, what I don't like, it's all past thinking. It's a confusion. It's kind of a fog, and it's kind of a fear, kind of I'm not sure what. Be in the present. And in the present, you know what you like. You like yoga, you like to be with women, you like to be in the nature. When you're in the present, you really like it. And obviously the service has to be something that you enjoy. Because imagine me right now talking to, instead of you ladies, 100 men who are really angry at women. Oh my God, I would be miserable. Absolutely not. I'm definitely very clear that I love women, I love nature, I love animals, I love family, I love talking about creator, love spirituality. So we really know in our core if we are in the present moment. When we go in our head.
I love yoga, I love scuba, I love these things, but to me, serving is like teaching yoga or teaching scuba.
Exactly.
And when it goes into teaching mode, I don't enjoy it then. It's like I enjoy it because it's selfish, you know, so that's where I get confused with what I enjoy. And then I think, well, serving is not about me. So therefore it doesn't have to be something I enjoy. That's asking.
I get, but you're still in your head because sometimes, for example, I might have other things, like for example, in one of the feminine circles, my friends invited me to go hiking and kayaking, but I knew I have a feminine circle. Of course, in that moment I thought, oh, I'd rather do kayaking and being with my friends. But then when I really look inward, I'm like, no, I really want to be with you, ladies, because this is my way of also connecting not just to you, but also to Creator. And my friends, I can actually join later. And so we have to really authentically start meditation and put the steps into connecting to Creator, because in the present moment when you're meditating, you will start noticing what really at the core makes you happy.
Okay.
The answers are always in us, because maybe I don't know what makes you really passionate, but you do.
Okay, I'll be
Few
quick.
minutes.
So for example, yesterday, when I'm not distracting myself, for me, it's social media. I'm sober, I don't drink, I'm a very, very sober person, but for me, it's the internet for sure. When I really sit with myself, I sit with a lot of suffering because of the isolation. So I came from a 2-parent household. My parents loved me very much growing up. They weren't perfect. We had dysfunction, of course, but they're getting older, they're elderly, and I'm already grieving because I'm so alone without them. I live by myself. I'm in New York City, but the disappointment of my last relationship not working out, that I haven't found my security and love in the husband, I'm sitting with myself in the meditation. I put the phone away, it's just me, and I just really feel like my own suffering and fear of isolation, that without my parents' love being in the world, because they're my best friend. They're my only source of love, really, that I feel. So otherwise, it's very painful for me. And my question is, I'm trying so hard to listen to Creator's voice, and I'm saying, please, like, show me how I can even interact with you, what you even feel like. But each time I'm just faced with my own aloneness. It's just pure darkness. It's very hard for me.
This is such a great question, Nicole. Because I can fully relate. My first year, when I was just starting a prayer and meditation, I was in the same shoes as you were. I would do the prayer, talking, and then try to... I didn't even start meditating. I was first praying. And then I was just in so much sadness, emptiness, and pain. And of course, my therapist mind helped me. When we are in a state of depression, sadness, loneliness, emptiness, we as a human beings try to resist it and run away from it. But as I saw this darkness, and to me that darkness looked like the whole world, the earth.
Yes.
But yeah. I would enter it, and I was just in the darkness. Of course, my psychoanalytical mind told me I'm in a mother's womb. I'm like, okay. And there I felt so cold, freezing cold. And it felt like the earth was metal itself. And I'm inside of that emptiness and I'm freezing. And so I would be cold like I'm in a refrigerator or ice or Arctic somewhere, North Arctic. And I felt so uncomfortable. But then I was like, okay, surrender to it. My mind was helping me. Creator was helping me surrender. And after 5 minutes, I would feel comfortable. And I would be in that darkness. And over time, after 2-3 months, I start coming back to that metal whole world, being in the dark. And it didn't feel to me anymore freezing, uncomfortable, and cold. It actually is my comfort zone. Because I grew up with mom who was, again, because she gone through so many series of traumas in her childhood, that's how she was, neglected, abusive, emotionally and verbally. But to me, in a way, it was a comfort zone. And I became comfortable with that darkness and that metal whole world. And then, as I became even more comfortable, as I accepted it, this metal started to dissipate. And 6 months later, I was just floating in a kind of space, in a dark space, and there were just stars everywhere. And I realized I overcame that emotional neglect and abuse and the trauma on such a deep level of almost like an infant. Because as a therapist and doing the therapy, I overcame a lot of stuff on many different stages. But the infancy, I was still very scared of her. And all of a sudden, 6 months later, I'm just floating in the universe and I'm starting to feel safe. That I feel like almost in the arms of Creator Himself. And therefore, it's not dangerous anymore. And so whatever that it's showing up in the meditation and prayer, dive into it. Like my whole first year was a lot of similar stuff that it didn't even feel like natural meditation where you feel like amazing, right? It felt like a lot of hardcore work, you know? And if for those of you who have pain, go inside of that pain. If you have anxiety, go inside of that anxiety. If you have that depression, go inside of that depression. That's how you're healing it.
Okay.
You will have to overcome so much in order to really experience the bliss. And the bliss to you might look like and feel like only you will experience that maybe 8 months or a year later or 6 months or 2 years later when you're going to overcome major of this traumatic experiences or this isolation or loneliness or fear. But again, Creator is our best doctor, honestly. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Mira, yes.
How do you let go of the whys of, like, you were saying the past, like the things that are happening to us, like the unhealthy relationships, the relationships we're attracting, the toxicity. How do you let go of like the whys that happened in another past lifetime? I oftentimes stay stuck in that, and I think actually I know that's how I felt that depression state earlier this year, because I kept asking myself why. So how do you like get out of that why? Because I have a very analytical mind as well, that I want to connect it and, you know, find a solution. So sometimes I get stuck in the whys, like hows and whys.
Yeah, ladies, why is a very kind of has a judgmental tone to it. It's like, why are you hurting me? Why are you betraying me? It's like, what are you doing wrong? So basically in the background, why? Because I was in your shoes for the longest time, even though I was going through therapy, but I was not experienced this full liberation forgiving my mom. I was like, okay, why? But why am I still got her? Why did she put me through so much misery, right? And this why is really in the background. We're questioning God. Is like, why did you give me mom like that? Or why did you give me this man like that? Or why are you keeping me single? Where basically behind the why, there's no trust. I don't really trust you. Let me analyze that and I'll do XYZ 1, 2, 3 the way I think is right. But God is not analytical at all.
Yeah.
He's not mathematical at all. It's just he's nothing but source of love. And analysis, our head, when we're analyzing, behind analysis is fear. And the fear is really, we're afraid to fail. Because we fail in the past, it again goes back to the past, our state of ignorance, and we're judging that we're going to fail again. And so we're really judging God, Creator, like, I don't really trust you. I am afraid that you're going to fail me because everything else failed too. And therefore, why did you, and then it's a vicious cycle, and why did you put me through this? And it goes back in the circles. And in order to overcome the why, you really got to have fully authentic desire to heal and to be happy. And no one, ladies, no one gonna bring you that happiness. No one. It's your journey. You are born alone and you're gonna die alone. And you owe that to yourself. No one owes you that. You owe that to yourself to become happy. But without Creator, when you're trying to get money, to get men, you're relying on men to bring you happiness or a job with income to bring you happiness, you will be bankrupt, ladies. That's not the road to go at all. I was making $1,250 an hour as a therapist with so many chronic pains. I was miserable. I clearly got money is bringing you comfort, but not happiness at all. I very early got that this is not the source of our happiness. The only source of happiness, your connection to him. And please know, God not gonna reveal himself to you. The more effort you're putting in, meditating, being in the programs like this, reading about him, connecting to him, serving others, the more slowly he's gonna start revealing himself to you as well. It's like building relationship, slowly, very slowly. And you'll be fortunate if he's gonna reveal himself to you only once in your lifetime. Very fortunate if it's several times. But once he reveals himself to you, you will understand nothing else is better in life than having this deep relationship to him. Nothing absolutely compares to that. That when you do the meditation, you're becoming so detached and so relaxed and calm. And when in that detachment, relaxation, and soft flow, when you're making requests, because it's no expectation anymore, it's no attachment, you're just making requests. As I'm making requests, hubby, I would really love to go to India, or I would really love to go to Turkey, or Kenya, or South Africa, as I love to travel. My husband gives that to me because he knows that will make me happy. And he's at the point that he knows when I'm happy, he's happy, everyone happy, there's no resistance anymore, because there's no attachment. Even if he says to me, I can't right now, it probably have to be next year, no problem. Because when you are in this flow, there's no attachment and expectation. You're making requests, but there's zero expectation. And when there's zero expectation, ladies, that's when the kids listen, that's when husband serves, and that's when everything flows and works.
I kind of feel like you're taking us to a place where almost like breaking a barrier and getting into another energy, the energy force of our Creator.
Yes.
And it's almost more like what our true mission is, and getting into that flow is what I'm feeling.
Yes. Oh, I'm getting goosebumps because you're getting it, Maria. You're getting it. Because in that flow, when there's no attachment and rushing and anxiety, you feel like you're in a vibration with Creator himself. And as I'm cooking slowly and I'm stirring the food and I'm repeating the mantra, I feel his presence and I'm in the flow. The moment when my son or husband comes from work and he's anxious and stressed, he smiles, I give him a hug, I feel like his body's like, he melts into my energy. And that's what men are craving. That feminine soft flow is the flow of Creator. I'm meditating, I'm on the flow with him, and he gets it. And that's when I see my friends and they're like, oh, I don't want to let you go, when they're hugging me, because they're not hugging me. They're feeling the presence of Creator because I'm in tune with him. You get it? And that's what men want at the core. You're this love, this softness, this relaxation. But if we go to work, we make money, we're in this masculine energy like them, and then nobody wins. They're exhausted, we're exhausted, and kids are depleting of this love. And it's like a lose-lose situation. And that's what we are giving up, hoping, well, but I'm independent, I have this money. Yes, you have this money, but you are not independent, and you will never be independent. Whereas the human beings very dependent on each other. All of the answers that you're giving, either people gave you the pain or they were the source of the happiness. We need people. And you either can be the source of love and happiness or expectations and attachment, and that's the source of suffer.
I'm very moved right now. I don't know if anybody else is. Like, I have tears in my eyes, like the last 10, 15 minutes of this. Thank you.
You're welcome. The Creator, thank him. He's just speaking through me. I'm just a messenger in between. So what else are you taking, ladies, from this meeting that is going to be actionable? That you're taking the action. And of course, that action in 2-3 days will be gone because you're going to get back in your head And they're like, oh, someday, one day. But for now, what are you taking on from this meeting that is going to be actionable?
Is to make sure, create the space for prayer and meditation, connection, even if it's 10 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever it may be, just to make that the most important thing.
Thank you, Maria. Actionable, very clear. And if I can make requests, ladies, don't make this prayer place anywhere. Make a special place. And you're going to even feel that special place, that corner that you created in one room, the energy going to be even there different. The space has to be for creator, especially it will be great if it's not in your bedroom or not where you work, but then it's very hard to do it. But at least try to do the corner where you meditate. And I'm also gonna send a video to our main chat how to do either meditation or a prayer or the affirmation. Because if you're gonna start with I wish everyone happiness, you're gonna start conquering the destiny around your soul. If you don't know any kind of affirmation, if you do the prayer, it has to be very short, maybe 1 or maximum 2 sentences that you keep repeating again and again, again and again. And if you do it out loud, you're actually conquering the destiny even faster and more stronger, because meditation is a completely different space when you're meditating, but you got to get to that state of meditation. But in the beginning, use either affirmation, I wish everyone happiness, because the more you wish everyone happiness, even the people who harm you or hurt you, the more you're detaching from them, and the more the universe give you happiness back. Or find the prayer that speaks to you, but not long, 1 or 2 sentences. And for those of you who've been around a long time and now advanced, I can teach you meditation. But it's better to start with simple. I wish everyone happiness, but it's a very powerful 5,000-year-old mantra or a prayer, because you might be Christian, and if you're Christian, you gotta do the prayer that speaks to you. But then you're repeating it over and over and over. And you cannot do the prayer walking or driving. You have to be in that space in a certain position. And that's why I'm going to send you the videos, how to do it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I think I'm just continuing to practice. I think what you had advised to me, Amrita, when I was coming on this trip, which is accepting how it is. And I think that comes to expectation too. So when I find my mom rushing me or doing the comparisons and stuff, instead of reacting or responding, just breathing and taking it in, just knowing that that's how she is. I can't change her, and accepting and moving on. And then I try to sometimes it comes back up in meditation where I just wish her happiness, because obviously it's something then maybe bottled in, but then that's kind of how I release it for myself so that I don't, create a situation. So it's just continuing to practice that, and I'm getting better in my meditation here. But one thing you just said that stuck with me that I'm going to take away is the time, because I've been getting up, I thought was kind of early. It's 7 a.m. and doing my meditation at 7:30, but now I'm going to try to get up earlier because the sun rises at 5:30 here. So I'll try to get up then and then do my meditation maybe at 6, and maybe it'll just connect better for me, because sometimes my mind can still wander. Even though I've been doing it a few months now, I think I still have to work on it.
Thank you, Celine. Thank you for sharing. I got it. Yeah, there's going to be a huge difference waking up an hour and a half earlier. The earlier you do it, that's where, there's crisp quietness. And in this crisp quietness, you're connecting to Creator. In 2020, when I was just naturally, I felt like Creator himself was waking me up at 3:30. And I'm like, I cannot sleep, so let me just do meditation. It was so profoundly powerful. I'm not saying, ladies, you need to wake up at 3:30. But all I'm saying, if you're going to even shift to waking up an hour earlier, you're going to see a huge difference. Huge.
My biggest challenge has been finding a space with everything moving. You saw the picture of the laundry room, or I've been trying to do it on a plane because I'm doing it twice a day. So it's doing it where it's where I can kind of be alone or secluded and still do it, even if it's quietly to myself. Like, so it's out loud, you know? I think that's been my biggest challenge. That's probably been interfering with my meditation.
I get it. And you're putting the effort. You're doing the best that you can. Detached from being perfect. You're traveling right now. So all is well.
Thank you for this.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anyone else? What are you taking?
Yeah, for me, definitely is let go my expectations from myself. Definitely, I think it's coming from childhood to be a good girl. Like, I mean, how parents want to see you, how environment, community want to see you. And I'm taking the step now. I'm moving back home. And I think this is like big step for me because finally I let go of this busy city, this all like financial, muscular energy, achievement, success, to just find my peace there. And definitely my inner spiritual journey will continue there. And I mean, it's never finished. It's never will be end.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely. Really great, Olga. Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
thank you.
One more share and we're going to say goodbye. Yes,
I'll
Sarita.
say something.
Yes.
Okay. I think for me, one of the biggest takeaways is just instead of thinking about what I want, thinking about how I can be of service in the moment. And maybe that will help me calm down.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Sarita. You know what? If you'll remind me, I can send to you the video about how raising kids. We were raising our kids 0 to 5, like a little king, a little prince, being of service to him. Oh, wow. The results are really incredible. We, as a parents, are servants to our kids. Think of that. You are serving them. Make sense? But if we're turning it around, I want you to be obedient. That means you want them to serve you. But they're kids. So you are serving. You're being of service. You are serving little gods, little angels. That's it. That's beautiful. And that's a different shift of context. And when you're shifting the context, you're looking at them as little angels and not somebody who is stressing you out and not listening to you. Makes sense? Really great. Thank you. Ladies, with that said, I wish you happiness. I wish you to surrender. I wish you to flow. And I wish you to put in some discipline, some work. Instead of demanding the happiness from others and Creator Himself, because that's what expectations and attachment is, put in some work. You will see the result. In the beginning, it's difficult, but then you're going to start seeing the fruits ripe and you're going to feel it. Until our next meeting. Namaskar. You're welcome. Namaskar.